I'd love to know, talking about like riding these waves, what's been one of those waves that you've needed to ride in your life and come back from?
My days at Social Chain were absolutely incredible. You got to think when I started at Social Chain, it was just Steve and Dom. They were on a laptop in Thailand and I was working at Seed Marketing. But as we progressed and as we grew that business, scaled it, I think from 28 people when I finally joined to 200 people, it changed and we started to lose the essence of what we believe Social Chain was. And I think from my own childhood trauma, my ADHD, my maverick kind of disruptive nature of who I am, I definitely challenged the status quo within that. And my commitment to Social Chain at that time was, family level. I would die, and I did, live and breathe that company. And the biggest challenge that rocked me was, one day I was in New York, I was living out there running that company, and I got called up for a meeting with Google. Well, I thought it was Google, and Steve and Don were there, Google weren't, and I was exited. It totally rocked my world because I couldn't understand, really what had happened, why it was happening. I remember getting a call saying, look, we're going to not let you fly home. We're not going to pay your notice. I just remember feeling so worthless, like such a failure. That moment in my life was one of the lowest points. Yeah, I think it's been a really, it's the first time I've ever talked about this. And I think the most important thing is it's a really positive thing, even though it was a really painful and negative thing. And that's so important to me. And I think the most important thing from it, because I think you can play the victim card, is that when Steve, Dom and I sat down, Steve actually said, look, I think, because we had a lot of respect, we really cared about each other. He said, I think this would be the best thing that ever happens to you. And obviously at the time, you don't feel that way. But I also reflected as to what was it that I did, because it always takes two people. Yeah. And I'm still good friends with Steve. I'm still good friends with Dom. I spoke to them both the other day. I respect them. But what I'm really proud of is that instead of focusing on the venom and the, kind of toxic mindset of they screwed me or this happened, I just got busy and I just lent in and I worked my absolute arse off to build Buddy. And now, 4 or 5 years later, we're a multi-million-pound business, but more importantly, we've got incredible team members with incredible culture. And I don't think I would have had that if I hadn't have learned or had that